Um, oh, and so once I had the motor mounted, just for my prototype deck, I just decided to, like when I was first doing some of the planning, I decided to actually cut off the mount that the pocket bike used to hold the battery in place. But just for my prototype deck, I just used some tape to mount it to the board. And yeah, I was really excited because I could ride it and stuff, and it was like really late at night when I finished it, but yeah, I was super happy because I was riding it around our street in the dark and everything. Probably wasn't the best thing to do. But then I think probably a couple days later, then I just had to start taking it all apart, because it's the only bad part of a prototype board is then you get this kind of feeling of like that you're done, but then you just have to take it all apart because you're not. So then the first part of making the final board was to make the deck, and so this I kind of just took a little bit more effort into it and cut it out using a bandsaw with a rounded corner, and kind of actually cut it a little bit more like that to actually let the wheel fit in there even better than the V. And so this is just, so I cut it and then I sanded it using just the sander, and then I coated the whole thing in a polyurethane. So the back wheel was pretty much the same. It was really easy to do, but the only difference was I just, like the first time with my prototype deck, I just kind of put it on there really quick and everything, because that's kind of the point of a prototype, is just to get it together fairly quickly. But with the final thing, I was really careful about kind of shifting these washers around on either side until I had like the perfect balance and stuff, and so it was perfectly centered. But it was pretty much the same thing that I did with the prototype board. And then the finished trucks. So I had a pretty good turning radius with the little shim under the trucks. But what I actually decided to do was have a piece of 2x4 and cut it at an angle, so I could actually get more of an angle than I could have with the shim. And this way was just a little bit neater. And also one problem that I had with the prototype board was that the back wheel was a lot bigger, and the trucks were pretty big, but it was still slanted, so whenever I was riding it, I was kind of falling off. And so this also gave me a couple inches so that I wasn't always falling off of it, so it was pretty much level. Okay, and so then this is just mounting the battery. And so this is actually me just cutting the battery mount from the frame. And it was kind of scary at first, but it was really fun. And then here's just actually a picture without any of the sparks, so you can actually see what it looks like. So that's just the mount there, and that's the battery that I used. And that fits into it really nicely. Okay. And then this is actually a problem that I had been putting off because I knew I would have to do it at some point once I had kind of finished my prototype board. And it was just something that I knew would be really difficult and just really time consuming. And that's just extending some of the wires from the pocket bike, because they weren't very long because it was a very small thing. So pretty much what I had to do for that is cut open the wires, and that kind of cut open the insulation, and then exposed 4 separate wires. And then I had to cut each of those and solder them to a 2-foot extension wire, which was a very painstaking process. And then I had to solder each one of those 2-foot extension wires to the actual handle again. So that took a lot of time. And then it was just with the brake wires, I pretty much just went to a bike store and got some longer ones, so that was really easy. And so here's just some pictures of the finished board. There's a top view and a bottom view right there, And here's just a little side view. And then, yeah. So then, just some of the stuff that I learned while doing my project was, so I learned a lot about electronics just from kind of cutting open the wires and figuring out how all those worked. I learned a lot about how motors work just from doing some of the different experiments and doing different research online. I learned so much about soldering. I really wish I didn't have to learn that much. Yeah, that took a lot of time to solder each one of those wires. I learned that prototyping is just such a great thing to do, especially when you're doing something really original. And I learned a lot about problem-solving mechanical difficulties, which is, for just an example, is kind of the thing of not really being sure how to power the skateboard, and so just kind of improvising and kind of just learning how to adapt to what you have. And so here's just a quick video of me driving it. And it feels a lot faster than it looks. It's, yeah. Yep. So, are there any questions?
Are there any commercialized skateboards now?
There are several, but they are very expensive, and I kind of just wanted to try to do something a little bit more original. And there are a whole bunch of kits out there that you can buy, and that you can actually kind of adapt different skateboard tricks to be able to do that. But I just really wanted to do something a little bit more original.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was probably right when I had finished the prototype board completely, and I was just first able to ride it, because that was really exciting, and yeah.
I would like to know if the chain you used, is that a bike chain, or what did you use?
That's actually the same chain that was just used on the pocket bike. Yeah, it's just the same chain on the pocket bike.
How long do you get on one before that?
That's actually something that I think I need to do is I need to buy a new battery at some point, because it really just, it doesn't hold its charge very well at the moment, so yeah. I'm looking into purchasing a new battery at some point. Sorry, I can't see that much. Yeah. Well, maybe you can look at my board back there after all the presentations. That didn't let you understand them. I'm not really sure.
You don't have to buy one.
Mr. Martin?
Is it legal to ride it on the street?
I don't really want to know if it is or not, because so we left it at home.
Okay, when you start and stop, does it give you a little bit, I mean, so I assume you have a battery, I mean, a brake.
Yeah.
So when you, I mean, how does your balance go when you brake? Does it stop abruptly, or can you slow it down?
Yeah, it does stop kind of abruptly, but normally you just kind of ease into it so you don't get thrown off.
You can't even do it with the brake? Like-
Yeah, a little bit. Anyone else? Oh.
Could you solarize it?
I haven't really looked into that at all.
Instead of using a battery?
I think like to actually have it, like just the power that it takes, I would have to look into getting a new battery and then actually be able to have like some of that excess solar power for when it's like
So you
not
still
running.
have to use a battery even if it was solar?
Probably.
Okay.
There's like, I don't think it would really be practical with such a big solar panel.
Yep.
When it is like pretty flat and I have a full charge, I think I can actually get up to about 15 miles per hour.